I done told you when they bring receipts, it's not going anywhere good. When they bring props of receipts, oh, it's over. Hey, shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel. I'm Reese Waters, and I'm troubled.
This is Jasmine Crockett, the representative from Texas. Can we get the sister some help, please? I'm talking about all the congressmen and all the people in the Senate. Why does it seem like she's the only one with her hair on fire? And I don't give a damn about what you're doing behind the scenes. I'm talking about she seems to be the face of the resistance. Y'all have a branding problem, Democrats. Y'all come across as soft and passive. Stop. Do you not understand? The other side has plenty of Jasmine Crockett's over there who are vocal men and women. Where y'all at? She should not be taking all the heat. When they go low, you should build a bunker underground. You should be underground. You should be layers and tunnels and shit and everything. Go to hell if you got to. Y'all have a major branding problem. There should be legions of Jasmine Crockett's. Black, white, Hispanic, men, women, old, young. Everybody should have their hair on fire right now.
Now, I'll be completely honest. This was supposed to be a street politics because I haven't done a street politics in a while. But it just so happens that our street politics is in troubled waters.
You would really like the beginning of this piece where Ellie says that Democrats are like the varsity chess team being told it's their time to start the football game.
That's so Lord accurate.
So accurate.
What would you have us do?
I would actually, you know what? I'd just like you to show that you give a damn. That you got a little emotion about the fact that people are losing their jobs indiscriminately. Mm-hmm. That this individual sitting down at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has given absolute power to one man who brings his son into the Oval Office, whose son says to him, "You're not the president. You shouldn't be in that chair." Now, where did he get that from? He got it from his daddy. Because that's what his daddy thinks of the man who brought him into the Oval Office. So I just like to see somebody wake the hell up and get excited about the fact that your country is under assault. They're not at the gate anymore. They're in your bedrooms. They're in your living rooms. They're in your businesses. They got your data, dumbass. They got all your stuff. Elon Musk has his tentacles in everything you're doing, not just off of X, but now he's in the Treasury Department. He's in the Labor Department. He's in the Department of Homeland Security. And nobody seems to give a damn. That's all I want, somebody to show that they care enough to get off their fat ass and say something about it.
That's what I'm saying, man. It seems like we be more mad than they are. Like, oh, you not done? All right, no. Go ahead.
I am a weird duck in that I really am a reformed MAGA gangbanger. I mean, it's like I left my family. Right. So I really do feel obligated to try to help them, knowing that I don't succeed with most, but I feel like it's my responsibility to try to help, but it's tough.
I like the way you just put that, MAGA gangbanger, because Trump is a thug right now. Yeah. He's acting like a thug. I've talked to a number of my friends, and they're like, dude, he's coming hard with the thug life. I mean, it's just, this boy's just like, I don't give a shit. Y'all can't stop me. You know, it is.
He's untouchable, Michael. He thinks he's untouchable right now.
And so that for me is probably the most frustrating part of this, because there are a lot of ways to touch him.
Yeah.
And no one seems to want to do that. And I don't understand why we don't do more in that space.
That's right, Democrats. There's a whole lot of that anger. They are quite literally taking to the streets.
Fund. Don't freeze the life-saving work we do at NIH. Work we couldn't do.
And they damn sure are taking to social media.
Hello, everyone. This is Professor Bush, and if you are new here, welcome to the United States Constitution, Government, and Racial Inequality. This is the same content that I actually teach my students at a four-year university. And the content is going to break down how law and government have been used to create and maintain racial hierarchies that persist in the United States of America.
Well, all his nominees got through. And Michael, and I think you said this to me in December. Hell, they probably would have approved Matt Gaetz.
Yes, they would have.
Yeah,
I don't even understand what that
so all his nominees got through. I've heard from Freedom Caucus guys that they will fight Trump in March on budget and debt ceiling stuff, but I don't know how that will.
No, they won't. I don't think they will. I think what they're going to offshore that fight to the Democrats, and this is where the Democrats go, you know what? I've got a hair appointment.
In light of the fact that Republicans are currently shooting a Death Star beam directly into our very way of goddamn life, congressional Democratic leaders have vowed to dig deep and do absolutely anything possible to stop the now daily horrors and atrocities. Only none of that. And instead, they're complaining that their constituents are calling them too much and begging them to do something other than rolling over and showing the GOP their bellies, like the good dogs they are. Gee, I don't know, fellas. Maybe it's that the Republicans are pouring gasoline on the Constitution while searching their pockets for spare matches, or that they're deporting everybody with a vowel at the end of their last name into an El Salvadorian pit of hell, or maybe it's the cadre of former 4chan mods who are cutting entitlement programs like their streaming services, or maybe it's that even Sean Puffy Combs could get a confirmation to a cabinet position. It's just got us all feeling like maybe now is not an opportune time to quiet quit your goddamn jobs, you wet fart of a political party. Do you want to know why you all lose so much? It's because you're fucking losers. The only way you could find your backbone is if it showed up at your office with a check for 30 grand lobbying against workers' rights. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna call them even harder. And we're gonna demand that either they stand the fuck up or step the fuck down.
Right on, brother. Right on. It's kind of like when you see a player on your team laughing during the blowout. I know you don't get no time, but still. Now I gotta feel like I'm the only one whose weekend is ruined, damaging lifelong friendships and familial relationships over a game I got no control over. I know it's probably true, but I don't like to be reminded of it. The closest that we came to getting some of that heat from the Democrats is Jasmine Crockett. Y'all remember when she called Elon Musk a coward and then talked about the GOP being castrated?
What we are against is this idea that we will evade the Constitution or we will evade our own constitutional. In fact, it's not even an invasion. At this point, it feels as if y'all have just decided that y'all are going to castrate your constitutional duty and hand it over to someone who is unelected. It doesn't matter how many cheerleaders he had on the fields campaigning for him. That doesn't mean that he gets to go in and sit atop any of our agencies. And the fact that we had a vote today and we asked to bring him in because we have a constitutional duty, we all took our oath, and maybe some of y'all just don't take it seriously, but I take it seriously when I take an oath to do a job, and my job is to look out and make sure that we don't have any kings or queens in this country. But it seems like y'all have decided that it's going to be Mr. King and his queen, and y'all can pick which one is which.
Now that's the kind of heat that we need, but we need that from everybody. Oh, she wasn't done either?
We've heard a lot about the fact that Democrats have been talking about Elon Musk. And let me give you a news alert. We're not going to stop talking about him. We're going to keep talking about him until he is out of here. Now, if he wants to be elected or appointed and confirmed to something, then so be it. But as of right now, we have somebody that for whatever reason, I don't know if y'all just trying to play in our face because you think we're stupid, or if you literally just cannot see the difference in a George Soros and a Bill Gates. But let me give you a little bit of the difference. Number one, George Soros nor Bill Gates ever somehow decided to turn off the spigot of money that was going through to various organizations and agencies to the extent that it had actually been ordered by law that they should have access to it, to the extent that people are dying. There are people that have died as a result of this antic.
And just in case you think she was engaging in hyperbole,
And there are now farmers that are screaming that they may lose their family farms because we have over $500 million worth of food that is sitting and not going anywhere because of the attempt to shut down U.S. aid.
And just in case you think she was engaging in hyperbole,
I've had a number of farmers reach out to me saying, why are we not talking more about this? Because they've been impacted and they expect to be impacted even more. If you don't know Elon Musk, he more or less dismantled the USAID program with President Trump's blessing. He gutted the system down from 10,000 workers to about 300. He helped with things like providing food supplies. And so you have farmers here in the US providing those grains, providing wheat, providing lentils, providing all of these different resources that can later be sent around the world. The US government pays farmers here in the US to provide the wheat, lentils, all of this stuff that we send overseas.
So let me tell you, that is the big difference between the two of them. And let me also tell you that a big difference between Democrats and Republicans is that we don't just say we believe in the Constitution, but we walk it like we talk it. What does that mean? That means
walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like... Oh, y'all can see me, huh? Sorry, I made a dance in Congress. You got it. Well, don't say walk it like I talk it then if you don't want me to dance. And you better not say knuck if you buck.
if we believe in the Constitution, we don't just pick out the Second Amendment and say that it is limitless, nor do we pick out the First Amendment and say that it is limitless. The thing about the Constitution is that it has always been a balancing test. There are limits to this. And right now, what we continue to hear from a certain side of the aisle is that there are no limits to this lawlessness. In fact, there are limits. And I can tell you that one of those limits typically is around hate crimes. You may or may not know that when it comes down to it, if somebody decides that they want to send something hateful in, say, the U.S. mail, they can actually go to prison for that, up to 5 years in prison. So yes, there are always going to be limits. So when we start to talk about Trump and him being pulled down on any platform, this just happened to be after he incited an insurrection. This just happened to be after, in a bipartisan way, this particular chamber decided that they were going to impeach him. So there was something a little different about what he did, because as we know, it led to people actually dying.
You gotta love the 180s that we see all over the right wing these days. I mean, I thought that Fox News banning Trump and then turning around and going all in to promote his reelection was going to be the worst 180 that I saw in my lifetime. But, I mean, look at y'all. But it was the biggest 180 I've seen since LeAngelo Ball. The career and the relationship.
But let's talk about who's doing the nefarious things with the tech giants. Because I don't think that one side of the aisle is promoting truth, but sometimes it may seem a little treasonous.
She bring a prop. She brought a prop. She went down the street and went and got that made. They had somebody design that, and they went and got that made just so she could bring a prop out. You better find the exit. Yeah, because that ain't going nowhere good. That ain't going. I done told you when they bring receipts, it's not going anywhere good. When they bring props of receipts, oh, it's over.
All right, so we've got this article right here about this guy. Meta says it will end its fact-checking program on social media posts. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Then we have Washington Post says it will not endorse a candidate for president. We also know that actually they absolutely intended to endorse Kamala Harris. We have this one. Google Maps now show Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico for app users in the United States, which is a complete farce because it's the Gulf of Mexico. It always has been. And we know that the AP got kicked out yesterday because they refused to buy into this lie, because that's all y'all really want to promote is lies. That's the big issue that we have.
And they want to turn around and call the left snowflakes. Yeah, they want to call the left snowflakes and then advocating for free speech. But this is how he is spending his time. not on the FAA, not on backing away from the Gaza promises. Gulf of America.
Elon Musk boosted false U.S. aid conspiracy theories to shut down global aid. Now, while he was boosting those lies about U.S. aid, and he was stopping money going for, say, things such as Head Start, somehow the only money that didn't stop was the money to him and his organization. Now, I don't know how you can have him be the watchdog as well as the guy that is literally living off of the government. If we want to talk about government welfare, it looks like Elon Musk.
And while we're adding children out of wedlock for something that is totally fine for people with wealth to do, but they denounce from working class America, receiving money from the government. Oh yeah, we see you, Elon Musk. You know, on paper, Elon Musk is basically my cousin Tony. He got kicked out the house last week.
Because it's my understanding that just on yesterday, a new contract was approved for approximately $300 million for Elon Musk. So listen, I just want y'all to be honest. You want to sit here, you want to lie, because so often we hear, well, you know, yeah, we did lie. In fact, he admitted that he lied when he was in the Oval Office yesterday. But if it's a lie that will get you into office, such as saying, I know nothing about Project 2025, yet on day one, you literally do everything that you can to implement it, including making sure that you put, say, one of the main architects of Project 2025 over the OMB, it's okay, so long as you get the power that you seek.
And I'm going to go ahead and reject anybody's notion that he had disavowed Project 2025 or they somehow were unaware of his connection to Project 2025 when he was surrounded by people directly connected to Project 2025. So no, you don't get that one. I mean, that would be like me saying, I got nothing to do with my men's basketball team getting to the Rec League Championship. I actually didn't have anything to do with that.
The problem is that the game is going to be on the American people. And when I say the American people, I mean all of us. Unfortunately, I am also stuck in the twilight zone because of the lies that were allowed to be propagated. Just like when you're talking about vaccines and all this nonsense. Right now in my state of Texas, there is an outbreak of measles. And what they are finding is that because there's been so much disinformation about vaccines that kids are sick right now with measles that they did not have to have if they just trusted doctors and experts instead of randoms online.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem when you basically have randoms online in charge of the doctors and experts. Yeah, I'm looking at you, RFK, the guy who sat there and lectured black people about how to overcome racism.
I remember crosses being burned when I was a kid against an anti-Catholic president. A lot of other, I was called a Mick, a mackerel snatcher. Those kind of things had no impact on me. And that's the kind of resilience that we want to give the black American children so that they have so much confidence in their own future that when they do encounter the inevitable racism, that it will bounce off them, that they'll be, like the Avengers, they'll be immune to it.
And then turn around in an interview and talked about black children being taken away from their homes and reparented. Misinformation is right. To be fair, we can see why he would advocate for something like reparenting, seeing as how his entire family has disowned him.
So I will end by saying this, Mr. Chairman, because I know we believe in Jesus in this chamber. In John 8:32, it says, the truth shall set you free. So maybe we should focus on a little bit of truth in this chamber.
I like that you went with the Bible verse. You know who really could use Jesus right now? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, she could use Jesus with a dash of Jasmine Crockett. That's my prescription.
We've had a number of these hearings, so I do want to be clear. Before the Trump administration came in, this committee did exist in the form of the Oversight Committee, and our task is to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. In that vein, we had a number of hearings, at least last term. I can't speak for any other term as I'm only in my sophomore term. And we dealt with improper payments. And interestingly enough, our chairwoman, who is so passionate about this today, she missed every single one of those improper payment hearings.
Hey, Marge. Hey, get Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hey, what's she buying toy space lasers? Hey, Marge, she talking about you. Yeah, she talking about, just so she talking about you. Yeah. All those meetings that you missed when you was with Zangief and them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But just to be clear, I was there, so I don't want anyone to believe that Democrats just come to work and don't plan to do work. In fact, I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is that the Republicans believe our job is, because right now they have relinquished their constitutional duties over to an unelected bureaucrat, someone who no one went out to vote for. And absolutely, he is occupying the Oval Office, as we saw yesterday. And that is a first for me, to see someone occupying the Oval Office who's never actually been elected to the Oval Office and actually answering more questions than the person that allegedly got elected.
Beautiful use of allegedly there, Jasmine Crockett. Phenomenal. And by the way, I've seen a lot of really good takes on Elon Musk holding court in the Oval Office, but I believe my favorite actually came from Andrewski, who we heard from earlier.
Well. You know, I don't like to brag, but for years now, I have been calling Donnie Jar Jar Trump over here a flaccid, trembling, overripe socialite, a man with both the hands and disposition of a toddler, a guy who can barely stand up, much less stand up for himself. And yet never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that he would drag his cuck chair directly into the Oval goddamn Office. Do you understand how bad it must feel to get out-alphaed by a dude dressed like an 8th grader who just saw The Matrix for the first time? Phony Stark over here is a pair of fingerless gloves away from not being allowed into a movie theater or a mall. And you just know he tips that hat at women and calls them milady. Republicans, this is your man. This is your hero, the man you were all calling daddy, the guy just sitting there and taking it while Captain Ketamine goes full worm tongue in front of the entire nation.
But for whatever reason, this is the first time we're having a Doge subcommittee hearing, and that guy's not here. Instead, we have y'all. So I do want to thank you for coming. But I will say this, it's also interesting to me that in the first few days of Doge existing, we know that they are trying to get rid of the Department of Education, USAID, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They're laying off FAA workers. They are going after the FDA, the CDC, the HHS, the FBI agents, and they're talking about getting rid of FEMA. And they brought y'all in. And I am going to say that I actually was shocked that there was only one person that seemed like he was an overt Trumper as you laid out your opening remarks, because I anticipated that at least one of y'all would say, yes, what Elon is doing is exactly what we would prescribe. But instead, I will applaud you because you actually were focused. You talked about what the American people are looking for us to do. We've actually consistently on this side of the aisle promoted this idea of making investments into technology so that we can do things such as, say, look at the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense that takes up approximately, 50% of our discretionary income or our discretionary spending. Approximately 50% goes to Department of Defense. Department of Defense has not been able to pass an audit in the last 6 audits, and we're not talking about pennies. I understand that we want everything to be perfect, and if we could get all waste, fraud, and abuse out, that would be fantastic. But let me talk about the big numbers. The big numbers are on that side. When we look at, say, our entire workforce, our federal workforce, as we're trying to somehow fire all of them, they don't even make up a total of 5%. It's even less than that when we look at our budget. But let's talk about defense. That just happens to be the same side of the ledger that Mr. Musk gets the vast majority of his money from.
So let's just absorb what she's putting out. And this is something that I've commented on before here on this platform. But the idea that we're going after waste, fraud, and abuse, and we're consistently attacking these minuscule line items in our budget and ignoring defense. It becomes a little hard to take your efforts seriously, and even more so when you have significant contracts on that side. Hey, QAnon! Q! Y'all saw it? Y'all still talking about laptops?
At the same time that they were unlawfully, and we will stay in court, because on this side, we believe in law and order. We believe in, a number of us are actually lawyers, but nevertheless, we understand the Constitution. We believe in that as well. And so there's things such as, impoundment, right? Because as Mr. Whitson said, he said, we need to return the power of the purse to Congress. It never left. According to the Constitution, that's where it's at. Now, I know that people are confused right now because for whatever reason, we had a guy that went in, and you talk about people invading our data. Listen, people said that they were upset about TikTok, but I'm upset about the guy that runs Twitter, who for sure is doing nefarious things, because I don't understand, if you are trying to conduct audits and figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't know why you would go to some tech guy. In fact, it was only techies that were sitting there at inauguration. We didn't have auditors. I would welcome auditors to come in and do forensic audits. In fact, he sat there in the Oval Office yesterday and he admitted that he was lying, and he was using his propaganda machine to do it when he said that we sent millions of dollars to Gaza for condoms. That was a lie. So let me tell you something.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
It's time for
the
us
gentlelady's
to do our
time has
job
expired.
and rein in this rogue actor known
The gentlelady's
as
time is.
Now, let me first mention that it's going to be an endless source of amusement having Marjorie Taylor Greene refer to Jasmine Crockett as the gentlelady. I'm going to enjoy that. I'm going to enjoy Jasmine Crockett on Doge. Just in case you happen to have missed what she's referring to, where Elon Musk admitted to nonsense from the Oval Office.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact-check this, it apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes.
But a couple of other things that she mentioned. She talked about the idea that we're going after waste, fraud, and abuse, but yet we have adolescent techies that are running up into the Treasury and probably Social Security by now. That's who you take with you, not people whose actual expertise would be finding and rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. No, the kinds of people that would be adept at, downloading, changing code, things of that nature, deleting, hacking. Yeah. Yeah. That don't really seem like you looking for waste, fraud, and abuse to me. That's not who I would bring. Yeah, I was brought in from the city. Yeah, we just came in to do an extermination. So, I got my team of thieves with me. We just gonna come in and check it out. Check out the place for, roaches and rodents and things of that nature. Hey, bring all them bags. Yeah, bring all them bank bags. And then she also mentioned the hysteria about TikTok and the safety of our data. But yet we hear nary a peep about what's happening with the data that Elon Musk has gained access to, which is absurd. Now, this is every bit the anger and the fury that I would expect to see, what Michael Steele called for, that I would expect to see from literally everybody on Capitol Hill. But as Jasmine Crockett has already alluded, we have a fully castrated GOP, so we cannot count on them to even approach the oath of office that they took to sit behind those desks on Capitol Hill. And apparently their constituents up till now are fine with that. So, Democrats, you're up. Yeah, and you're going to have to handle this a whole hell of a lot better than you handled it the last time. I'm going to tell you like my daddy told me. I don't know if you can fight, but you better learn how to act like it. Hey, good people, can you believe that we are closing fast on 2,000 members? I know, and we just celebrated 1,000 like a week ago. It turns out they really like my internal monologues. The right wing always complain about being canceled, but they don't ever go nowhere. Well, if you would like to join, there is a link to membership in the description to all of my videos. And of course, we'll have celebrations when we hit 2K and other members only lives coming up soon. So make sure you turn on your notifications and be on the lookout for those. Speaking of growth, I was blown away when I went to my second channel, Way of Waters, and saw how many of you guys have found your way over to my other channel where I am now posting content. I do want to say I greatly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And by the way, Way of Waters is kind of where I look for healthier ways to deal with our world than the jokes and yelling that I do over on this particular channel. That literally is the point. That literally is the point. Do you even, y'all, who edited this? And while we're on the topic of jokes and yelling, if you want to find out about all things Reese Waters, make sure you sign up for my newsletter, which you can do at my website, reesewaters.com, or you can send me an email at admin@reesewaters.com. And if I haven't said it recently, I need you to know I really appreciate you.